email. Shehiyah.
The one from today or from last week? Today was Shehiyah, but it's 2:54. The one we did last week is 2:53, and that's what we're finishing today first, and then we'll go on to the one that I gave today. All right, my friends, here we are. Sorry I'm late. And we are pretty much up to conditions of Chazarah, finishing the sheet from last week. Okay, my friends, here it is. When a person wants to be able to return food that is on a heat source on Shabbos, he has to fulfill 7 conditions. Some of them are according to all opinions. Some of them are according to some opinions. Let's start with some conditions that are according to all opinions. Shoot.
And where are we?
I'm on 18 of last week's one. Covered flame. Yes, thank you very much.
Hang on, is that the one you sent today?
I'm still on Nun Gimel. I'm finishing Nun Gimel. I'm up to conditions of Chazarah. No, it's the one I sent last Tuesday. Covered flame. Yes, all agree. Give me more. Give me more.
That's both.
So what was the question?
I'm asking for conditions of Chazarah, but I want to first hear ones that everybody agrees with. Completely cooked, that is correct. Although there are Rishonim that say that once it's Machal ben Rasoy, Ein Bishal Acha Bishal, the Rashba says that. And the Mishnah Berurah says maybe you can rather than B'di'evet, maybe. But the Halacha L'maisa, the Machaber paskins like the Rambam, as does the Ramah, that it has to be fully cooked. So until then, everybody agrees, L'maisa, you cannot put it back.
Intention?
Oh, intention is a matter of machlokes. Hot, in some cases, everybody agrees. In some cases, it's a machlokes.
So let it go and...
So 1 second. I'm sorry? Yes, 1 second. Let's go back to hot, because that's one that perhaps everybody agrees with. If it is liquid, then everybody agrees. No. First, we're going to start with last week's. You have last week's?
This one?
Notes in Siman 320? No. Sorry. Oh, here. Here, we're going to start with here. Conditions of Chazarah. So, if it's liquid and it's cooled off to the point that it's actually cold, everybody agrees you can't put it back. If it's cooled off to the point that it is still Yatzalet bay, but a little bit cooler, everybody agrees you could put it back. Of course, there are other conditions, but I'm talking as far as this is conditions are concerned. If it's between Yatzalet, lower than Yatzalet, but it's still something you would serve to your guests, the Ramah says you're allowed to, and the Machaber says you're not. Now, if it's dry, then they have another machlekes. The Magen Avram, and this is how the Alter Rebbe Paskins, says that even if it's dry, if it's not still hot, however you define hot, like we said before, you have to, you can't put it back. Because once it's cooled off, it's not a continuation, it's something new. 1 second, even something dry, it looks like a new Chazarah. I'm talking about if you're doing Chazarah into a place that's normal to cook. Normal to cook. However you define that. No, you open flame, you can never put back to an open flame. A place that is a covered flame, but is still normal to cook. In Shulchan Aruch, Grufa Uktuma. In Shulchan Aruch, we discuss putting back into an oven that's Grufa or Ktuma. That means you either remove the coals or you cover the coals with ashes. That's still a normal place to cook. If you want to put it back there, you have to fulfill all the conditions of Chazar. Some say that the same applies to a blech today because the cover is bottle. It's nullified to the stovetop. 1 second. It's nullified to the stovetop, and therefore it's considered like you're putting it in a normal place to cook, and you have to follow all of these conditions of Chazar. Some, Rabbi Yosef and many Sfaradim follow that, say no, that as long as that the blech itself makes it an abnormal place to cook, and therefore you don't have to follow the conditions of Chazar. It's like putting on top of a pot. You just have to follow the conditions of Bishul. So that's something else. But now we're talking about in a place that is normal to cook. Question, yes.
So if that food it's already cooked and you can take it from the refrigerator and put it on Shabbat and the block. So why here is it strict not to put it?
You were listening to what I was saying. You were so busy
Because
thinking about your question.
it looks like not
That's the machlokes. If it's in a place that is normal to cook,
Uh-huh.
then even if it's fully cooked and dry, you cannot put it back. Now, one second. What is considered a normal place to cook? Some say even a blech is normal to cook. Some say no, blech is not normal to cook. What Yosef says that. So according to him, you could put it back if it's dry and fully cooked. But according to others, you have to keep the conditions of Shlomo Zalman and so on. So you have to keep the conditions.
all the conditions.
Of Chazarah by a blech.
So let's say you have a short
Not
process.
Yep.
Not this Friday.
It's a little bit hot from original temperature. It wasn't like it was hot from a different place.
Yeah, it has to be hot still from the original heat. Yep.
You have to return only to the place that you're allowed to.
What do you mean? Only return to the place you're allowed
The
to?
place they're allowed to do Shehiyah on the food that less than Machab will say the Shabbos.
You mean to say Gufu Uktuma is what you mean to say?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You could say that. Or covered flame, same thing. Go ahead. Okay, so now we're getting to the ones that there are machlokes about it, but that is according to Chabad, definitely you have to have what? Keep it in your hand. Yeah, what else?
A thought.
Exactly. Don't remove your mind from it. Exactly. You should not transfer to another pot. Those are three conditions that there is. Yeah.
I said 6, I said 7.
We're missing one, actually. We're missing one.
A thought. Not
We're missing, no, that he said. That he said. The one that was not mentioned is that the Alter Rebbe says that you cannot put it back into a kira. You can only put it on top of a kira. Or a tana for that matter. You can never put it into it because if you put it, so that's another machlokes. It's another machlokes. Is the inside of an oven considered like inside of a kira? Because the whole point of the inside of a kira being more strict than the outside of the kira is that the inside is a stronger way of cooking than the outside. Yeah, but some say, Rabbi Farkash wants to say this, that the outside of the oven and the inside of the oven today are two different machines. One is a fire machine and one is a coil machine or whatever it is. It's not that's not the inside of that outside. So it's not like you're choosing to cook it in a stronger way of the two options. It's two totally separate options. But Lamaisa, like we said, almost every oven that we have today is not Gufa and Ketuma, and it's pretty impossible to make it Gufa and Ketuma, so Chazarah into an oven is pretty much out of the picture. Okay, so let's just go back to those three conditions, which the Gemara says, but there are different opinions about it in the Gemara, exactly. And one second, I just want to say them again. Oide b'yadoi, daita lahachzir, and same pot. And that means you didn't transfer it from one pot to another.
Some of it?
Well, any of it that you transfer to another pot, you can't put back.
Oh, what?
It has to still be in the same
Whatever
pot.
is the remainder, you want this.
Exactly. Now, the Mishnah Berurah does not hold you have to keep that one. Alter Rebbe brings all three. The Magen Avraham brings all three. The Mishnah Berurah says that one is a teiku in the Gemara, and he's not strict about it. 1 second. The Mechaber is actually lenient. He leaves one of those two out. Which one?
Both. Both of them.
No, he says one of them.
we study.
1 second. Which one? What?
You just can't put it down in a place that shows.
You can't put al gabe karka.
Right.
Okay, so you can't put it al gabe karka. You can't put it in a place that is the final destination.
What's the final destination?
Probably the table. I think that's where it would end up.
That's how you
Serve it.
not final destination.
Right, I saw that because I guess the counters where you're still prepping food also. So yeah.
It's only on the karka, I just think you're allowed to.
Yeah.
I'm sure on the bench you're allowed to.
Yeah.
There was some-
According to the Mechaber.
Also.
No,
Same
it's
thing.
a suffix in the Gemara, but the Mechaber doesn't bring that down. So he holds al gabe karka only.
He holds that you have kavanah.
So,
No, he doesn't say kavanah.
So
The
on the
Ramah
table-
says it.
on the
The Ramah
table-
says it. The Mechaber leaves it.
All three conditions.
No, he can't put al gabe karka.
so a table
It
is
doesn't mean
okay.
your hand, but you can't put al gabe
So
karka.
on a table it's okay, Rabbi?
Ashkenazim is also on Gabi Karka. That's the kavanah.
No. Ashkenazim have to keep it in their hand.
Oh, so it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Now keep it in their hand.
I-
Meaning, can you put it on the counter with your hand on it?
That's another machlokas.
What does it mean? Your hand?
Machlokas al gabe machlokas. Some say that as long as you're holding it in your hand, even if the other side is on the counter, you're holding it in your hand. Some say no, you have to literally hold it in your hand. You can't lean it on something else if that thing is supporting.
Yeah, that to support actually the part movement. If you're holding it while the whole part sitting on the counter, you don't, the part doesn't, the part halfway. If you're only halfway, if you leave it on the floor, that means that you have to hold it.
Is that the kavanah? Or is that what kavanah?
Yeah, somebody has to
Regular
hold it.
Ashkenazim hold it also?
I'm not sure about that. Let
Or
me
if
look
they-
that up.
their hand is on it, that
Let me look that up.
That's a good definition.
Let me look that up. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that has a-
I want you to explain why we are allowed to put the product on a couch or on a table, but we cannot do it on a counter or on the floor.
The Machaber holds that it's only a problem on the floor because that's where it looks it's like a final destination. And other places it might look like it's going to go back. So therefore it doesn't look like it's final.
So,
But 1 second, but the Ramah holds you have to keep it in your hand. So according to the Ramah, you can't put it down anywhere. Yeah, you can't put it down.
Rama says that.
Ramah says oida biyada, it's still in your hand.
Even if it still gets cold, the one that gets cold.
No, it has to be hot. We said that that's a separate condition. According to the Ramah, warm. According to the Machaber, hot. According to the Ramah, warm.
Remember we study,
Wait, so according to all Ashkenazim, you have to be holding it in your hand all the time, even if it's still hot?
Correct. That is correct.
I thought we learned differently, actually.
How's that? Oh, you mean the Ran? Is that what you mean?
But what we hold that all Ashkenazim hold that you have to be holding it in your hand.
Lechatchila, yes. Now, but Yeved is something else.
Ah, okay.
In a moment. But lechatchila, definitely, it has to be in your hand. Yes.
remember we study if we have the blach, right? And then you got a small pot empty, and then you have another pot, the food. You pick it up. You're allowed to put it in an empty small pot without to pour it. I remember when we studied that.
One more time. You have a blech, you have an empty pot, you have a full pot.
I have an empty pot and full pot.
Yeah.
So you holding it,
Yeah.
and you all the Chazarah,
Conditions,
yes. You serving everything. Then you have little bit. You allowed to put it on that pot.
On the empty pot, you can put it without any conditions of Chazarah.
In the pot or on the pot?
In the pot.
In the pot is a machlekes. In the pot is a machlekes. On the pot,
It was on the black also.
Yes, that's what we studied
no.
a while ago.
It's a machlekes.
Machlokes?
On the pot, you can do it without the
On
conditions
the
of
pot, I can
Chazarah.
put it in a blach. It's no problem.
On the pot, you can do it as long as it's still hot and fully cooked. Those are the only
But
conditions.
it's the same. It's the same temperature of the small and the big.
Lo mashana. On the pot, it's not a normal place to cook. So when you put it on the pot, you don't have to keep conditions of Chazarah because it doesn't look like cooking. In the pot is a machlekes. Some say that once it's in the pot, it's like the pot is batel to the other pot. So it's considered a normal place of cooking. You don't have to keep all the conditions.
I keep all the conditions.
So then if you kept the conditions and the pot is just like a blech, the pot is just covering
So
the
you can put it
flame.
inside.
Yeah, you can put it inside.
All the rabbis agree that on the table or on the chair or on the floor, I mean,
On the
it's final
floor.
destination.
On the floor, definitely. On the table, I think so.
You have two parts. One with the toilet, one with the water. Both on the black. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, go
You
ahead.
want to empty the pot of the water and to pour the toilet into this pot. You're allowed to?
Without to remove the pot, maybe Rabbi, right? Without to remove the pot. You take a scoop.
לא מסכים. לא
אני
מסכים.
שואל, לא אמרתי שזה מותר, אני שואל אם... Because the both of the black, the both clearish.
It's the same point like it's empty. Right?
Oh, you mean because if you take it, if you keep conditions of Chazarah with both of them, is that what you mean?
Yes. Empty
That's
corner,
interesting.
And then I'm pouring the child.
What's the reason?
That's interesting. I think yes, because you kept conditions of Chazarah, both of them. So they're both
Hot.
like they belong on the fire. I think.
So
We didn't learn it
maybe-
clearly, but I think
maybe
so.
she needs the part, the second part that
גם אני לא הבנתי, אבל מים חמים.
sitting on the black, empty pot sitting
הוא
on the
רוצה
black.
להוציא את המים,
תוצאה של
בכוונה מישהו אחר
הצ'אלנג',
ייקח את זה וישים אותו אחר בתוכו.
because it is smaller
מה
pot.
הסיבה?
זה מה שאני...
What is it doing on the blech?
Huh?
What is it doing on the blech?
Stand by. I don't know, I'm just asking.
Akashia,
if you're
Akashia.
allowed to, if there was one pot was on
לא
on
נראה
the
לי.
fire, if you're allowed to transfer from one to the other.
לא נראה לי.
It's the same thing with the empty one, right, Rabbi?
לא נראה לי. Because that didn't have anything in it, so it's like a new thing. It's like a new thing.
If you had something, it's maybe good.
L'chura, if it had something, so this is something else, but it was also coming from the fire. One dish, the other dish. I think. Not 100% sure.
There's never a cave, sorry.
That, like, this is like real life. Like, you have a setting on your crack pot, then maybe there's a blackout, and then the setting of on your crack pot is gone. The shoreline is already cooked on Shabbos, but there is a platter. So can you keep warm the cooked shoreline, transfer it to the platter?
You tell me.
Yeah. So,
Yes, I guess.
Yeah, that's correct. You can. As that's considered, you're allowed to change from one to another, one kira to another kira, as long as you have the conditions of Chazarah in both of them.
If I cover my crock pot with aluminum foil inside.
Yeah.
The inner pot. aluminum
Yeah.
foil,
Yeah.
Can I use that as a plata? Can I put back on top of that something dry according to Chazarah? Like with the position of Chazarah?
With or without? With the conditions, you mean?
Yeah.
With, yeah, why not?
No. Let's say, for example, no, without the conditions, without it being hot, with the conditions of just the
Of Bishul. The conditions of Bishul, without Chazarah.
conditions.
In other words, something cold.
Can I start putting schnitzels in there? First, let's say Sfardim or the regular Ashkenazim.
I don't see why not. I mean, if the foil is enough to make it like a blech, so why can't it be like a blech? I'm saying if you say that the foil is enough,
It's covering. What's
Say.
it? Thickness?
if it is, so then why not?
Does anyone say that foil is not enough to be like a blech?
One thing I remember what Rabbi Farkas says is that the foil might burn up if it's only one layer. Didn't burn up. Okay.
I occasionally use foil, but I use the very thick foil.
They're
Right.
one really thick and one really.
There's heavy duty here.
Right.
Yeah, they're heavy duty.
I put thin.
I love it.
Right.
I put thin.
I put it in a barbecue, not on Shabbat.
Yeah.
Of course. I put it in barbecue every time. All the
They
time.
have two crack pots. One has different settings.
Yep.
The other has a fixed setting.
Yep.
Do I have to Hatmanah both or just the one that has the different settings?
You have to do what on both?
They put in the silver, the aluminum foil.
Yeah, so the one that has no two settings, you don't have to cover it. That's considered like it's covered.
There's a crock pot that doesn't have settings.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one.
I have one.
It doesn't have.
No settings. On and off.
Low or high?
On and off.
Oh, and what is the temperature, low or high?
I don't know. That's my wife.
Because if my crock, well, I guess it's, every single one's different, but if I was mine on high, it would be dirt.
Yeah. I assume it's low. I assume. I never.
Wow. That's a better, is that better?
As far as what?
Still a place to cook, saying it's still a muckum. it's a machzik mavashal to be able to come back. It's not
Right.
taking off the setting button. Let's say.
Well, let's put it this way. It definitely fulfills the conditions of Gufa Uktum. Maybe it's still a normal place to cook, so that it wouldn't be without a foil,
Yeah,
perhaps.
according to part of Group of Doom is the regular part.
So what are you saying?
So
So
it
for
would
what?
help for Spartans. To have a one setting crock pot wouldn't help for a Sparty.
Why?
What would it do?
You're saying in terms of it, making it not a normal place to cook? Is that what you're saying? What do you want to accomplish?
Anything better in Allah. So for you not to have to do something and make it more according to more opinions.
It definitely accomplishes Gufuktum. Because the whole issue of Gufuktum is you may elevate the flame, you can't elevate the flame.
So that does help.
Does it make it a place that does not look like Mavashal? I don't know. Is a crockpot Mexican Mavashal? I mean, I think people cook with crockpots.
I mean, you don't have to think.
People cook with crockpots. They don't only make crockpots for Jews.
They don't,
Apparently-
they also just to be, but my wife uses it week.
Exactly. Apparently it's a thing. So if people cook with it, it seems like it's Mexican Mavashal.
So that's why I was asking about simple. Simple, would I be able to, after I take out the crock pot, can I use that area?
It would seem. I didn't see it clearly, so I'm hesitating. But it would seem.
Question. I would
Yeah.
never be able to put anything back unless I asked this. I'm sorry. I've been meaning to ask moments. Am I allowed to ever put something back on an open flame in any scenario?
Are you ever let put something back on an open flame?
Any Chazarah situation?
I don't believe so. No.
How do you have stuff on an open flame to begin with?
You tell me.
By accident?
Oh, no. You could do better than that. Come on, do better.
I don't remember any way you can have something on an open flame.
From before Shabbat.
I can think of two examples right off the bat. Is there a third? I don't know, but definitely two.
What's the second?
What's the second?
Shehiyah.
I'm talking about a permissible Shehiyah on an open flame. Give me two examples.
Shehiyah.
Either completely cooked or completely raw if it's meat. Or machabin or soy, even better. I mean, not as good as completely cooked, but yeah. I'll see you there.
Yep.
If it's meat that is raw, it's 1 heter. If it's half cooked, or even better yet, completely cooked, it's another heter.
Completely cooked and getting.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched last week's review, and I forgot because I did think that you always need a blech on your flame.
That's always helpful, but there are cases that you don't actually need it.
There's no.
So completely cooked and completely raw, l'chatchila, it's okay. Okay.
I mean, even half cooked for Ashkenazim is okay.
I mean, there's no mile of having fully cooked food that's getting better.
Actually, there is one of the Rishonim, I think maybe the Baal Amor, who says that it should be fully cooked, even though it's Mistam B'Yafalei.
I mean, that's also mile.
That's a Maila, yeah.
I
don't know.
It's not.
Yeah, I don't really know why, because I mean, Chananya, yeah, Chananya, what do you need it for? It's not really good enough. So I don't remember how he comes to that.
The Gemara said Chachamim hold Tzamik Viralo.
Absolutely.
Tzamik Viralo.
Absolutely. Yeah, it goes into all details about what Mistam B'Yafalei is. Yeah. Yeah, the other advantage of having it cooked before is that you don't have issues with moving it around on the fire. You know what I'm saying? Putting it back.
I have a question. If
Yeah.
you're talking about cooking something for the amount of time it needs to cook for, let's say, for example, my challenge to get it to the point that I want to eat it, let's say it takes 14 hours.
Yep.
So we said that the amount of time it takes to cook, that's how much you can count the 50 and the 33% of Ramam and Rashi, right?
Yep.
So if I want my cholent, I would only eat my
No.
hours and under.
That's not called. That's called Mastam Gviyafaloi. Cholent. There's at some point cholent is fully cooked. You like it better. That's Mastam
But I
Gviyafaloi.
wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't eat it back shot that chak. I'm not, if my cholent is not at that point, I'm stalling the meal to have it at different points.
Yeah, but that's because you like Mastam Gviyafaloi. That doesn't mean that it's not fully cooked.
So you're saying it's simple. There's a case of it's stomach. That's what I'm looking for.
That's what you're looking for. Cholent doesn't take 14 hours to cook. I mean, maybe the bones, Shlomo Zalman, this whole thing about bones getting soft. Besides that, cholent takes, I don't know, a few hours to cook.
So why is it by steak that if a person wants it, say, I don't know these terms, medium rare or something like that, so why is that not considered cooked? The person wants it at that stage. That to him is cooked. He doesn't like steak fully cooked. I don't want it.
And therefore what? Who's I mean, it's considered partially cooked, which is stage.
Why is that not fully cooked? According to me,
because he likes it not fully cooked. He likes it not fully cooked. What does that mean? Just because he agrees that it's not fully cooked, but he likes it that way. Just like Ben Drusoy. That's good. That's what he walks in, he says, half cooked. That's what I want.
I thought the situation was he was
okay, yeah, he wasn't rushed. I'm saying. I'm just saying what? Not the same.
Okay, you're disagreeing.
Of course I'm disagreeing. When you want it half cooked, you're not saying this is my fully cooked. You're saying I like it half cooked because I like the moisture, I like the taste of something that's not fully cooked. Fine. And halachically that's cooked, by the way. I mean, okay, a person would bring it to that point would be chayav chatas. You understand? That is considered cooked.
If a person takes a medium raw, what's the word, steak and to heat up, that's in Shehiyah.
But that's actually machlokes. The Rashba says in b'shalcha bishul, finished.
Right.
Rambam says till the end, till it's fully cooked. I understand that, but my point is to bring it to that point is also bishul daraisa. So it is cooked, fully cooked. That's how you like it.
Yeah, right. Bring it from 5 to 10%.
No, that not.
What?
5 to 10% is not Nisadarazim because it's still not edible. It's still not edible. That's a chatzi shir. To bring some, it's not a Nisadarazim. It's a chatzi shir of a Nisadarazim. It's not a.
Chatzi shir is Nisadarazim.
I understand that, but it's not a kares. It's not a malka. Whatever.
So in order to bring something to be God forbid, someone from something that's kares, he has to bring it to 33%. Something kares.
Yeah, either 33 or 50%. That's clear. That's clear. Actually, I take it back. It's not even a chatzi shir. It's a chatzi malacha. There's a difference in a chatzi shir and a chatzi malacha. Chatzi shir is when you do the whole malacha, you just do it with half a shir. That would be if you did a half a gurgus. If you brought it to half cooked, but only the size of a half a gurgus. A gurgus is considered an important amount of food. No, the malacha is there, but you only did it with a small shir. In the case where you only brought it to 5 or 10% cooked, you didn't do a chatzi shir, you did a chatzi malacha. That's like picking something up to carry it outside, but not putting it down. Akira without hanach.
So can you take it off? You
didn't do malacha deraisa. A chatzi malacha is not a malacha deraisa. So this is a rabbanon.
Remember learning? You're and planted. It wasn't planted, and then you took it out before it was a seed or took whatever process. So then some stuff. I know the Gemara, but I don't remember the halacha. What would be the halacha? Would it be the Shehiyah?
Chura.
This is the Shehiyah.
Chura. Yeah.
The person likes meat. About the legumes, mixed beans, gonna be also not cooked, fully cooked. So are we getting into a question there that they are 1/3 cooked or half cooked?
What do you mean? If there's a pot that has different items and they're taking different times?
I'm making a shoulder.
So
and I like the medium rare. Shabbos.
So in order to allow, oh, you mean, in order to allow yourself to put it on the fire when it is, without a blech, following Hanani's opinion, all of the food in the pot has to be at least half cooked. Because the whole point is that you have to not be nervous, my guests are coming, what am I going to do? It's not ready. All of the food has to be half cooked so that it's ready to eat if you needed it to be. Understand? 1 second. In order for it to be considered fully cooked, to be able to put it back on the fire, let's say, all of the food in the pot has to be fully cooked.
So if it's in a crock pot,
Yeah.
you put all the beans and everything with the meat all at the same time.
Yep.
So on Shabbos, how the person would like to eat that meat when it's fully cooked. You rather eat it medium rare, it's not going to happen.
So what's your question?
The question, if he really likes like that, if you really like, then he makes a setting of the crock pot certain hours, and then the crock pot is going to stop. When it stops, he's going to have his meat medium rare, but not the mixed beans. Mixed
So-
beans are not going to be cooked.
Not going to be cooked. So let him make it longer. What's the problem?
Make it longer. Shabbos, it's too really late.
Before, what do you mean? I understand your question.
All right.
So
That was my question.
so Rabbi,
You got to have planning. You have to plan it.
The before.
So
Yeah.
Rabbi, for that question, it's a 50% cooked before Shabbat.
Yeah.
Right before Shabbat, you take another brand new piece of meat, and you drop it inside. You allowed to do that?
Yeah.
So this will not be cooked after for Shabbat, 100%, right?
So you won't eat it
That's
till
what
the
I
next day.
That's what
The
I
whole
like.
point is that you won't eat it till the next day.
Yes, that's okay.
I thought you were asking another question, which I don't know the answer to. Let's say you have something that has different ingredients. They're all fully cooked. Some are mitztamek v'yafalai, some are mitztamek v'ralai. You understand? The meat is getting better, crisper, but the beans are burning. So, what is it? Is it yafalai? Is it ralai? Do you go to the majority? I don't know. If you want to be chmachme like the chachamim,
Usually it's the.
maybe. I don't know.
So he said.
Surely you look at the dish as a whole.
It helps us.
Is the dish as a whole better or worse?
It's the meat, even everything else.
That's not because it's the ikar. That's because the fact is you're not going to eat it if it has a raw piece of meat in it. So, is it because it's the ikar? Or there was 10 pieces of meat in there. One is raw.
One piece of meat.
I'm saying even if there's 10 and one is raw, you can leave it. Not because the one is more important than the 10, but because it shows that you're not going to eat it until it's ready.
Why does that show you're not going to eat it? One
Because I'm not going to eat something if it's this part of it that's raw. I'm going to wait until it's cooked. Why would I eat something that has raw components? It doesn't make sense.
Everything else is cooked. It really affected that man.
You allowed?
What bacteria? What do you worry?
It's not a question. I eat something when it's ready. It's not ready. I'm not eating it. That's the whole point of you putting it in, to show that I'm not eating it.
Just questioning that premise. Because it's so clear that I would eat something. 99.8% of it is cooked.
Because that's not a normal thing. 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 It's not a normal thing to eat something before it's fully cooked. Now, if you're doing it as a trick, obviously it doesn't work. Because the whole point is that A, you're actually not going to eat it, and B, that's a sign you're not going to eat it. If you just decide I'm not going to eat it till tomorrow, that's not enough because you might change your mind. Putting in the raw meat shows that it's for real, but it makes sense that it shows it because a normal person doesn't eat the food until it's fully cooked, unless it's an emergency. I mean, an emergency is something else, but that's not the normal way.
So on Shabbat, you won't eat.
I feel like I'm being tested here instead of you guys.
Okay, let's go with this, guys. Come on.
It's just the oral concern.
Okay.
Okay, now in terms of your question, if you put the Ideira Agabe Karka, but you kept your hand on it, Reb Moshe says that it's still considered like it's in your hands.
What does it mean your hand on it?
Shaloi silik es yodoi bimena. It's mamish on the karka. It's like on the karka, but you're holding it like this. Not even you're holding it like that. Holding it like this.
You just have to be still
Symbolic.
Nigia.
Symbolic. I don't know about Nigia. Holding it. You're holding it. But it's down, but you're holding it. Yesh la'ach is going to be yodoi. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. Rabbi Yashiv says, no, that's like it's put down. However, he says, Rabbi Yashiv says, if it's like that, that's good enough. But I think Rabbi Farkash wants it to be only if it's suspended in such a way, like that if you drop it, it would fall. I think that's a Farkash's definition, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, because he bases it on somebody that's, Chabad goes by that. I don't know exactly what it's based on, but yeah.
If you
Chabad goes by what?
If you stand up.
I'm pretty sure he goes by a Farkash, who says that it has to be, if you're holding it like this, and it's down on the counter like that, it's good. If you would drop that side, it would fall. You know what I'm saying? But if you're holding it like that, and if you drop it, it would stay, then it's not good enough. Okay. We continue and we say, okay, all of the above is all fine and good, lechatchila. However, there are b'di'evet opinions that one can rely on. Now, certainly you can rely on the mechaber, who says that you don't have to have it in your hand, as long as it's not on a karka, and who also doesn't even mention the idea of daita lahachzir, that you have to have in mind to return it. Certainly you can rely on the Mishnah Brura, who says that you don't have to keep it in the same pot. But even, yeah?
Yeah, what does that mean, b'di'evet?
I'm saying b'di'evet, let's say you put it down, but you didn't put that on the karka. You're Ashkenazi, you put it down, you didn't put that, lachatchila, you should have kept it in your hand, but b'di'evet, you already put it down.
Nice. Very good. I mean, it's a bit, I didn't know it was b'di'evet, okay. I thought.
Actually, you know what? Now that I'm saying it, I'm hesitating. But I think the Mishnah Berurah says that. Just give me a second.
I think it goes to the time of Chazarah. You do Chazarah afterwards. I mean, it is derech.
V'ayin b'beir halacha she'eveinu harbe me'rishonim she'mekilin ba'odem b'yadai afilu ein daita lahachzir. Okay, he doesn't say it so passionate.
That's a thing when the other three it's only the other only if you took it out before Shabbos and you only want to put it back on Shabbos.
Exactly, that's the Ran. That's exactly the Ran, my friends. The Ran says that all the conditions of Chazarah, when I say the conditions of Chazarah, by the way, I don't mean the conditions of Bishul, meaning to say the fact that it's fully cooked, for sure. The fact that it's still hot, for sure. But the conditions of Chazarah, which is keep it in your hand, have it in mind, keep it in the same pot, the Ran says that's only if you took it off before Shabbos and you want to put it back on Shabbos. But if you took it off on Shabbos and you want to put it back, then what?
On Shabbos, you want to put it back on Shabbos?
Yeah.
So you have to keep on it.
No, the Ran says if you took it off on Shabbos, you want to put it back on Shabbos.
You don't have to do that
You don't have to do that 3 times. So when can you rely on the Ran?
That you don't have to?
Yeah.
When you took it on Shabbos, but it's completely cooked also.
Can you rely on the Ran, B'di'evet, to put it back?
Because he said, according to him, you don't need to have to hold it.
Kavanah also, he said.
No kavanah, not in your hands.
It's done on Shabbos.
Exactly.
So you need only the first 3 now. Completely cooked, gufa and ktuma,
And still hot.
and still hot.
Correct. So b'diavad you can rely on the Ran?
What was the Ran's opinion?
The Ran says that all the conditions of Chazarah, which are Odabiyadai, Daita Lahachzer, and kept in the same pot, only apply if you want to return it on Shabbos for the first time. That means you took it off Friday afternoon, you want to put it back on Shabbos for the first time. So then, only if it was in your hands, everything else, whatever. But if you took it off on Shabbos itself, from before Shehiyah till after Shehiyah, yeah, a few seconds, minutes, whatever. It's still hot anyway, because otherwise you have other problems. But it's, you took it off before Shabbos, you were arranging, putting up, now you want to put it back, you have to have those conditions. On Shabbos, you don't need those conditions at all, because once it was on there when Shabbos came in, so it's like that's the, like by Muktzah, we have Shabbos came in, it got the status. Muktzah, that's it stays Muktzah, or vice versa, whatever. So similar thing, on Shabbos, it was on the blech, that's it, that's where it belongs. Even if it came off, put it back, no big deal.
Yeah, wouldn't you have to make sure the fire was covered and it was fully cooked?
Absolutely, the fire has to be covered, it has to be fully cooked, no question about it. It still has to be hot.
Yeah, it's just a matter of these other three things as far as being in the hand, putting on the ground, same pot. Those you could be more lenient.
Exactly. So can we rely on the Ram b'diavad or not? Pashut?
If we're not relying on those,
I think so.
Yeah, but just let it sort of gadol. So why don't No. Why are we not? Why would you not be able? Why would you hold? Why just smart? Why would you hold that that's b'diavad okay, but the other one had many other rishonim, and we say only b'diavad tzarech?
V'makom she'ein sham tzorech kol kach tov lahachmer. That's what the Alter Rebbe says. V'makom she'ein tzorech kol kach tov lahachmer. Yeah, that means that it's not so pashut. It's you need a tzorech. You need a tzorech. That means if you took it off and you don't have those conditions, it's not so pashut. Now, if you already put it back, let's put it this way: there's no question that if you already put it back, as long as the Ran is happy, you can use it, but yeah. The question is, can you rely on the Ran to put it back when you took it off and you forgot and you put it down or whatever?
It's the same thing as tzorech.
Tzorech, yeah. Exactly.
Tzorech, it's meaning we eat the family and we miss a couple boys coming.
That maybe is not a tzorech. I'm thinking a tzorech is if it's Friday night and you took off the cholent and you want to put it back. You took off the cholent.
But we said for this for tomorrow, Rabbi.
Tishma. You took off the cholent and you put it down. Mamash al gabe karka, on the table, whatever. So you could say maybe it's still considered daita lahachzer, because had you known it was a cholent, you wouldn't have taken it out. Talking about in a case where you're not allowed to put it back without the conditions of Chazarah. However you define that.
The same thing and you pick up the shoe.
I'm saying if you consider a plata as a place that's not normal to cook or a blech, then there's no problem anyway. As long as it's still hot, you can put it back.
What I'm saying is that the crack pot is the problem with mixing the wash.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. A place that has the issues of Mexican wash. So in such a place, once you put the pot down, even if you consider that it's daita lahachzir because you didn't realize that it was this, if you would have known it was a child, you would have had daita lahachzir. Whatever. La maisa, it's down on the karka. So if it's Friday night and you have guests coming tomorrow, even without guests, that is your hot food. That's a tzorech. But if it's Shabbos day and some guests are late, I don't know if that's a tzorech.
But it's on the karka. Even Moran would.
Yeah, but the Ran is masking. The Ran says you can put it back. The Ran says,
even if you put on the karka.
Yes, the Ran says all of those conditions are only from Friday to Shabbos, not on Shabbos itself. So if there's a tzorech, yesh makom la'akel.
So I don't get why it's not mixing the mashal, because only
when something is there, when Shabbos comes in, even if you don't keep the other conditions, that's where it belongs.
But
belongs
Rabbi,
there. When Shabbos came in, it was there.
It's a
Got a stamp. Blech. This belongs on the blech.
So the tune is for sure it's 100% cooked. Otherwise,
Yes.
if it's not
100%
100%, you cannot.
100% cooked.
If I have meat and potatoes in my oven, I take it out of my oven, take it out of my oven on Shabbos. Let's say there's no problem. But so
An oven is going to have an issue of gufuktum. You can't really have a gufuktum oven. That's going to be a problem.
But crock pot is
If it has settings, it's not gufuktum.
you take off the top of the oven.
Maybe if you take off the button and lock it up somewhere.
Lock the button?
I'm saying do something that makes it difficult to get. I don't know exactly what the getter is, but it says that, for example, if you smear a oven door closed, by the time you break it open, you're going to remember. So, I don't know, something that would be a big deal to do it. I don't know exactly.
Why the Ram doesn't hold the problem to another time?
Because that's the condition of Chazarah. Any condition of Chazarah, he says, don't apply if it was if it was in that place when Shabbos comes in. Because that's where it belongs. The whole thing of not transferring to another pot is it shouldn't look.
The second part wasn't on
the food was. The food was. And that's where it belongs, because when Shabbos came in, that's where it was. Okay. Now, Le'umat Haran.
According to the Ram, I serve from the relation, and I discover a lot to put back in. Because he's allowed to.
Why only the Ran? Why not everybody else if you kept the conditions? Why only the Ran? Why not everybody else?
Let's say you serve 5 bowls and you use only 4, you can't put back what you serve back to the clearation.
Oh, you want to pour from the bowls back into the clearation?
Yeah.
Yeah, according to the Ran, you can.
I could. But according to the other one, I'm not allowed.
Right. But it has to still be hot. Hot.
Hot or warm?
For Ashkenazim, warm.
Can you do that?
I don't know if that's a tzorach. Okay.
I want to understand the cool of the Ram.
From the vision to Shehiyah, you are allowed to put it right into the
We don't do
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm-
No, but when it's still hot.
While it's still hot,
It's still hot.
but it's still hot, but it's
It went to
Shehiyah.
a cliche.
So the temperature, even though it's hot, it's not Rishon, it's Shehiyah now.
According to the Machaber, you can't do it. According to the Sfardim, you can't, no. Can't put back from a Kli Sheni into a Kli Rishon in the fire. Because the Rabbeinu Yoina, which the Beis Yosef quotes, holds that even an Irui from a Kli Rishon cools it down to the extent that it can't go back into a Kli Rishon. So how much more so Kli Sheni?
So really cool.
I'm afraid of Kol HaTerim. Go ahead.
Since Ron holds like a video that you can't have it in a Kli Rishon to a Kli Rishon because the Irui is older.
Yeah.
So what degree does it make it colder?
It's not a question of degree. It's a question of halachic status. That a
Meaning
Kli
it's
Rishon.
Irui Kli Rishon is under Kli Rishon.
Exactly. Kli Rishon is able to cook, and the Rishon is only able to cook Kedei Klipa. So it's a halachically less powerful status.
I saw that you put your ladle in the hot water or in hot water.
Yeah.
Kli Rishon with hot water. And you get the Kli to stay
Long enough to get the temperature.
of Kli Rishon. Then you can take it out and press it into the cholent. And it never had an Irui, it stays Kli Rishon.
I hear it. I do hear it.
Needs Hatmanah.
Yes.
But why did they have that to be able from clearation to clearation? You're allowed to do it.
Irui gets it lower.
No, the Rabbeinu Yoina holds that you can't pour from a Kli Rishon onto another Kli Rishon on the fire. Because the Kli Rishon, once you pour it out, it goes down a level. It's not able to cook anymore. And then you're putting it back on the fire, it's heating up again. So our Minyan is strict about it. Ashkenazim are not strict.
So what's the according to the head of let's say the shalom being dry, you have to take it, you know.
That doesn't work according to the Mechaber. According to the Sfaradim, they don't do that.
Would I be able in that situation to close the top of my urn?
What do you mean?
I have a water urn.
Yeah.
And it took off the cover to be able to put my big spoon thing.
Oh, and the droplets cooled off, you mean? You would have to dry them.
No. I'll clean off the lid, but I'd be able to put it back on top.
Yeah.
Because
once it's fully cooked, it doesn't make a difference. Covering something that's fully cooked is not Mexican wash. You mean Mexican wash? Is that what you mean? It heats up more, but that's not bishul. To make something heat up once it's cooked, ain't bishul like a bishul. It's not. All right. As opposed to the Ran, who was very makel on conditions of Chazarah, we also had the opinion of Tosfos, who was machmer on the conditions of Chazarah. And the Machaber and the Alter Rebbe says that it's toiv, it's a good thing to be machmer like Tosfos. And here's where I stop and you take over. What's the chumrah of Tosfos in the conditions of Chazarah?
Tosfos was even saying all this applies to Erev Shabbos.
Thank you very much. Even on Erev Shabbos.
All this applies to Erev Shabbos.
That's correct. You have to keep all the conditions on Erev Shabbos if it's within the amount of time that it would take the food to heat up. No, the conditions of Chazarah. Just the Chazarah. Well, no, actually, not all the six. Not all the six, actually. Not all the six. Just the conditions of Chazarah. Just the conditions of Chazarah. Meaning to say, Oida b'yadai, and Dai to the Hachzir, pot to pot, that's it. The fact that it has to be fully cooked is not a problem. Because the whole thing is that if you would do this in this time, you might come to do it on Shabbos. Exactly. Exactly. The same ones that the Ran is makel on, those ones the Tosfos is machmer on during that time. Correct. Erev Shabbos, right before Shabbos, in the time that it would take to heat this up, heat this item up. So 5 minutes or whatever. During those 5 minutes, Tosfos would say to keep the conditions of Chazarah.
But you said that's right before Shabbos.
Right before Shabbos. Well, just 1 second. I'm sorry.
Also, these 2 times, if you took it before Shabbos, you want to put it back on Shabbos, you have to.
On Shabbos, yeah, but Tosfos says even before Shabbos. This says even before Shabbos.
Before Shabbos?
Even exactly. You want to put it back before Shabbos. Yeah. Because if you don't keep the conditions, then you might forget and not keep it on Shabbos itself. 1 second.
Before Shabbos, you're allowed to do a lot of things before Shabbos. You're allowed to cook it.
Yeah, where do we see Xeris like that? I've never heard of it there.
Like, what's the cash exactly? What's meaning like? It's not Shabbos yet. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Make sure you're allowed to cook on open fire.
They're saying that was the Xeris of the Chazarah.
But this didn't
I'm making up a
be
phone run. I'm saying that was
until
Xeris of
Shabbos
Chazarah.
coming in.
Yeah.
The law of Shabbos is not coming for it until Shabbos. It's not Shabbos.
I mean, it's not Shabbos yet, but there are some things that we already don't do before Shabbos.
Keep going.
Don't take a haircut before Shabbos.
What don't you do?
I'm saying there are things we don't do before Shabbos. You can't do Shehiyah in a forbidden way before Shabbos. No, you cannot. You may not. You may not put something even an hour before Shabbos on an open flame if it's not going to reach Ma'achal Ben Nusay before Shabbos. So there.
And I take it off before Shabbos?
Of course you don't take it off before Shabbos. I'm talking about you don't take it off before Shabbos.
Okay, but then you're doing something also on Shabbos.
I'm saying the laws of Shabbos definitely extend to before Shabbos is what I'm saying. Now, the point is, they wanted you to practice the laws of Chazarah before Shabbos. They didn't expect you to practice the laws of Bishul before Shabbos, or any of the other 39 malachas, because everybody knows that you can't do those malachas. So they're not going to be strict before Shabbos, because that's before Shabbos. When it comes to Chazarah, which is not Asar Mamish, looks like. So they said, in that amount of time, so close to Shabbos, if you do it at that time, you might come to do it. The amount of time it would take to heat that particular pot. To heat it to what point is your question? I want to say from 0 to Yad Saletas Bay. Not 0, I mean from room temperature to Yad Saletas Bay. That's what I want to say. But
it's about 5 minutes or less.
About 5 minutes, yeah. But 1 second. Daniel has been waiting. What did you want to say, Daniel? Sorry.
No, I didn't have any question.
Okay.
I do actually have a question. Why? I think I might have asked this a few months ago, but I've forgotten the answer if I did. Why do we bother with a blech for things we're going to be eating on Friday night?
Why do we bother with the blech for things we're going to be eating on Friday night? What is the point of the blech?
If I've got my chicken soup, I'm going to eat it on Friday night. I have no interest in eating it on Shabbos day. I'm out in the day. Why do I always put it on a blech?
Why not just have an open fire? Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, Rafael is concerned about the safety of your children, and he doesn't want them to have an open flame around the house.
I can't accept that. Okay, a blech is a lot more dangerous for a lot more reasons.
Why? Because they'll touch it, they won't realize it's hot.
Carbon monoxide poisoning. It's easier for it to go out. Easier for gassing, that sort of thing. But that aside,
the gas is a point. Okay, so no, you give me some answers. Well, if the gas goes out, if the fire goes out, which it could go out with the blech, if it's not on such a high flame, sometimes it goes out, then you could have carbon monoxide issues in the house.
No, they're two separate things. You get carbon monoxide from not enough oxygen.
Yeah, the blech is more likely to make it go out.
If it goes out, then it's gas, not carbon monoxide.
Flame go out and have the gas stay on. You have a blech? You have a gas? Okay, well, that's why you're not relating. That's why you're not relating. If you had gas flame, you would know sometimes, if you put it on low especially, sometimes it's just not enough oxygen around there. It goes off and the gas stays on. Okay. So what Yossi is asking, is there a point to have a blech if you're not making cholent? You're making Friday night. You have your chicken soup. It's fully cooked. Why do you have to bother with the blech?
Absolutely.
But why does everybody do it? Have you ever walked in? I want to ask you, have you ever walked into a Jewish home on Friday night and seen a chicken soup just boiling away, open flame?
It's a Maritime, it's a lamb. It's a Maritime.
If it's Maris Ayin, you should have a Shulchan Aruch open next to it and with a pointer showing them. So the Yossi wants to know, what's the deal? Yossi's asking, what's the deal? No deal? It's a mistake?
No idea how many times I've wanted to. I know.
Okay, so here's my answer to you. Here's my answer to you. The only point of a blech in that case, in that particular case, if all you have is the chicken soup, the only point is to be machmer like the Chachamim. The Chachamim say that as long as it's mistamek v'yafalai, you should cover the flame. And after all, even the Ramah, who passes like Hananya, doesn't say that's the halacha. He just says, exactly, he just says noigin lahachmer. And the Mechaber, it seems, does paskin like the Chacham. So it's a good thing to be strict and have a blech.
Only if it's improving.
Not an actual chiyuv.
Even according to Chachamim,
But my chicken soup isn't improving.
Yeah.
even at any stage.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry?
But that's only if it's improving.
Exactly. Only if it's improving.
So once I've got to the ideal, that's it. There's actually absolutely no point.
If it's not improving, there is no point. Now, there are other reasons in other cases why you might have a blech. So, for example, if you have some food there that you might want to put back, you want it to be covered, although you could put the blech on Shabbos. And there is another point that I wanted to say.
We can put a blech on Shabbos.
Yeah, you could put a blech on Shabbos. Another point that's worth pointing out is that if your food is you're not sure if it's fully cooked or half cooked or whatever, so there is you have a blech there just in case.
So my goulash that I've taken out of the fridge, my chicken soup that I've also taken out of the fridge, they've been fully cooked and they're perfect. I might as well l'chatchila and not bother with a blech, despite the fact that I get lots of funny looks from people.
It's mistamach v'yafalei. If it's mistamach v'yafalei, there is a point. There is a point. There is still a point to do it. 1 second. Who didn't have mine? No, 1 or 2 and 3, not 4, not 5.
I can help with the minyan for Shachris.
If we would be in London,
It's that time of year. I can almost daven Shachris now.
So it's like Yosef says.
If I win the lottery, I bring all of us to London to study over there for the weekend.
The person's honestly can't go to
why
Shabbos.
London? Why not Yerushalayim?
Even better.
Even better.
Sorry? Yerushalayim?
Nothing. What do you say?
If a person is on the phone.
Thank you, Yosef. I just got that. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Let's say you can answer somebody on the phone. Can you answer on the phone?
What's the difference?
Right. So I saw it's like Yosef says, I saw a little clip that they put out that if you're honest, you can't be at shul if you have it on the phone. And you doubt at the same time, and you enter the amends and you get a Chris or whatever, you can say amends to everything, you can listen to everything. It's considered tefillah and tzibur. Obviously, they can't consider you tefillah, their tzibur, but you get considered tefillah and tzibur.
Okay, but those are two separate issues. There are two separate issues. There's answering Amen. That's Amen. There's Kaddish, there's Kedusha, all those wonderful things. Tefillah b'tzibur is simply the fact that you're davening at the same time.
Time or at the same place?
No, there is a Maila in
No, it's Mila praying at the same time.
the same time, exactly. Exactly. So that's even if it's in a different place. This isn't going to help that. This is still a different place. Bit tzibur? Well, you're not with the tzibur. With the tzibur.
Sounds like he was saying that you get considered if you're honest and you can't be a doubter. It's like the person's sick or he's traveling. You put yourself on the phone, you down at the same time, you say everything at the same time. It's considered what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
I have another question.
It's considered tefillah b'zman tzibur, and you get the amens and the kaddishes, so that's like all good. But I mean, if you're honest, you could say honest rachmana patra. I don't know.
Right. The question is, you get credit. Patre is you don't get credit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not possible.
I know that tefillah it's better to be in the minyan.
Yes.
But if you're on the phone, or I sometimes I see Gvodo, he said, "What a prayer it's Shem Hashem."
Yeah.
And I study and I hear that. I allowed to say Amen or no?
Yeah. יש דעות בזה, אבל למעשה...
Because I need to study. יש דעות בזה? What's happened if in Israel they have minyan over there and somebody passed away and they made a askara and they make kaddish with a minyan and you listen. You're allowed to say Amen Yeshua?
יש דעות, אבל למעשה אומרים שכן. למעשה אומרים שכן. אוקיי. I don't think we're davening with the minion tonight. No, I'm sorry. Even if I get one, it's only one. I don't have anybody else.
No, but isn't another reason why it's preferable to, even if you're not in shul and the daven at the same time as a minyan, that your tefillah isn't looked at all by itself.
Yes.
So you're scrutinized more
Yes.
by yourself than you are with the
That's correct.
davening at the same time with others, even though you're not with them.
Yes. This is true.
Yeah, but there is it in Darren does every man not an address for the minion in California, minion 770 right now. Anytime you can find a minion that is running for you.
770, yes, but I don't know if it works in a different time zone. The different time zone has its own zmanim, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but davening going to play with those man.
It's not true. It's not true. No, it's not true. It's not true. No, not true. Alter explains in the beginning of Shulchan Aruch that the whole idea of Zman Tefillah is that the Eis Rotzen for Shachris shines to this part of the world at this time, and to Mincha at this part of this time, and Ma'av at this time of this world. So the fact that somewhere else they're davening, but that's not your Zman Tefillah for this.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the same.
So for his question, you got 6 here in Florida not praying, and 4 in Israel pray. So it's different time, but this is okay.
No, okay, let's go. Okay, let's continue.
You don't allow to call.
What about Hatmanah to Chazarah? Something is in towels. You wrapped it in towels before Shabbos, and you want to take it from under those towels and put it onto a blech. Straight. Keep it in your hand. Still hot. Have it in mind. Don't put it down.
I don't think you can do that, even if it's
surrounded in towels. It's hot, but it's not on the burner. It's just surrounded in towels. It's not on the fire.
It's cooked 100%?
100% cooked.
No, you can't do that.
Hatmanah is on top, on all sides, top. Not Moisef Hevel, just maintaining Hevel, maintaining heat. From before Shabbos, it was Hatmanah. Before Shabbos came in, you surrounded it with towels, you hugged it on every side, you gave it a lot of love. And now you want to take it from under those towels
I'm afraid when you
pick it up
give a love.
and put it on the blech.
I'm afraid from the love, you know.
No, before Shabbos you did Hatmanah. On Shabbos you want to take it from the Hatmanah and put it onto Shehiyah.
It's machloket.
Really?
I don't think you can.
Yossi says what?
I don't think you can.
Yossi says not. That is correct. You cannot move it from Hatmanah to Shehiyah because Hatmanah is not on the fire. It's hot, it's nice, it's warm, but it's not on the fire. What about Shehiyah to Hatmanah?
Why is that? Because it's a new cooking.
It's not a new cooking. It looks like a new cooking.
When it looks like a new cooking is what, yeah.
You can't really cook it if it's still hot, but it looks like it's new cooking. All of the conditions of Chazarah, I'm talking about the Chazarah conditions, not the Bishul conditions. Idea that has to be in your hand, and have it in mind, all of that is to accomplish that it should not look like a new cooking. So if it's coming from a place that's not on the fire, it looks like a new cooking.
And the run would not make sense with this either.
The Ran would not be happy with it either. That's correct.
It would not. It would not make sense.
By the way, because even the Ran would say it's no good. And there's some for Sasabdiyev. If you do a forbidden Chazarah Sasabdiyev, we'll get to that more soon.
When you take something from the blach outside, whatever you want, you can do with it. You can cover that with a towel and everything.
Oh, really?
I think so. Because it's not cooking. It's not considered cooking. You removed it from the fire.
It's a good thing we're doing Chazarah. Anybody disagree?
Sorry, what was the point?
The pot off of the blech on Shabbos, and you want to put it now into a Hatmanah situation. You want to surround it with towels.
Oh, you're not allowed to do that on Shabbos.
Not allowed. Why? Yoram says, why not? It's off the fire. It's fully cooked. What's the problem?
It's not machloket?
No, not machloket.
You don't allow to do that.
It's everybody
Hatmanah.
else against you. That's the only machloket.
Rabbi, there's a some Sfaradim, they do the chamin, they cover that on the fire.
Not on Shabbos.
No, before Shabbat.
I'm the one on Shabbos.
As long as the top is open, it's allowed. Or one side.
That's the machlokes. It's machlokes, but you're right. That's the main halacha. If the top is open, it's allowed. Correct. No, Alter Rebbe holds if the top is covered, it's a problem. But what's the reason? What's the reason? Give me some explanation for this. What's the reason?
What is this again? This is going from the top of the stove to covering with towels?
Going from Shehiyah to Hatmanah on Shabbos.
Uh-huh.
Why not?
I guess it probably looks like cooking.
You can't. You can never do an increasing heat Hatmanah ever, even before Shabbos. You're doing a maintaining heat Hatmanah.
So I don't see why you don't allow to do that.
No. No one?
Because it looks like you are doing something.
Actually, you're keeping it warm. Don't keep
No.
So what's wrong with keeping it warm?
You're doing something. I don't know.
The answer is the Chachamim made a special gzeira not to do Hatmanah on Shabbos for the first time, because when you do Hatmanah with a pot, it has to be very hot. The whole point is you're not going to be adding any heat. You're only maintaining heat. So you have to have it at a very high temperature that the Hatmanah should be effective. Because if it's only a little bit warm, what's the towel going to help? You want it to be very hot. So maybe if you come to do Hatmanah with it on Shabbos for the first time, you realize it's not so hot. I better heat it up. I better put it back on the fire, get it really hot, and get it boiling, and then I'll do Hatmanah. So that's why they said not to do it on Shabbos.
Only because of Chachamim Gazur.
Only B'glal Chacham Gazur, that's correct, which is about 3/4 of Hilchos Shabbos,
Yeah.
maybe more, but that is correct. Okay.
So basically, Hatmanah on the left, Hatmanah
Special Gzeira,
off the fire is Chachamim.
exactly. To
So
take
because
something,
Hatmanah, it means something that's not on the fire is Yom Shamayim, but Hatmanah that on the fire is also Gzeira, is it?
Hatmanah on the fire is a problem even from before Shabbos, because that's going to be Moisef Hevel. The fire is going to come up, and it's going to be Moisef Hevel into the towels. You can't do Moisef Hevel even from before Shabbos. But I'm talking about off the fire. You can't do Hatmanah off the fire for the first time on Shabbos, because Chachamim say you might.
Talking before fire. Let me give you practical things. You take the fowl, you cover it with aluminum foil and you put it like in the oven.
You put it what?
Put it in the oven, so it's going to be hot. Completely covered with aluminum foil.
I don't think it's called Hatmanah. You put it in the foil to keep it clean and crumbs and whatever.
We will not consider it now.
No, I don't think so. It's like a pot. When you put a pot in the fire in the oven, that's not Hatmanah. That's how you hold it. Then.
But to keep it warm.
The purpose of putting it in the foil is not to keep it warm. It's in the oven. What do you do?
The oven is on.
I'm saying so. That's not Hatmanah. The oven is not Hatmanah. And the foil is not Hatmanah. I don't believe so. If his purpose is not to be Moisef Hevel, I don't know if it is anyway, but if its purpose is not to be Moisef Hevel, I don't think it's like a container.
Let's say you're doing it, and then just before Shabbos you turn the oven off. So this, by the aluminum.
That's Moisef Hevel. That's not Moisef Hevel anyway. Once it's turned off, it's not Moisef Hevel because it's going down. The heat is going down. Okay. If a person did a forbidden Shehiyah, what's the halacha?
Forbidden Shehiyah,
Yeah.
you don't allow to eat that.
Till when?
Until after Shabbat. No.
Bichdei sheyaseh. Exactly. What if it was a mistake?
Mistake if he has.
Exactly.
If he has no
Exactly.
food.
If
he
you
has
were,
no-
one second, Arnie says a good point. If you realize in the middle of Shabbos that you did a forbidden Shehiyah, you have to take it off. Because the whole point is you might come to stoke it. So you have to take it off to make sure you don't. But b'chol zot is also bichdei sheyaseh. That's correct. What if it was a mistake?
If you don't have more food, some makel.
Very good. Shkoyach.
We studied that.
We didn't review it, but we did study it, yes. We did study it, that's in 254. Al-Tabba says there, if you have no other food, meaning to say no challah,
No challah,
and nothing else to eat,
No,
mamish,
yes.
besides this, then you could eat it, if it was b'shogi.
bishoki.
B'shogi, that's correct.
When they say there's nothing else.
Stick in the side. Stick in the side.
In our time, it's not so simple.
We know that. We know
Back
that.
then, actually, it's
not gonna apply.
it's not applied. I think it applies so much.
If you have a snack, it doesn't consider it's a hot food. Right, Rabbi?
No, it has to be that's all you have to eat, mamish. That's all you have to eat. Question?
He did he's not allowed to eat it on Shabbos. He needs to wait for the time that got warm or cooked. And
After
eat it
Shabbos.
on Motzi Shabbos.
Exactly. The amount of time it got better, the amount of time it took for it to get better, that time until after Shabbos.
Now, this applies only for him or for everybody else that was in place?
I think for everybody.
For everybody.
Pretty sure it's everybody. Pretty sure. No, it doesn't make a difference. No. Now, the next case does make a difference, actually. If you did a forbidden Chazarah, so if it's Mastam Gvaraloi, you can eat it. Because you didn't, it's not a benefit. It was already fully cooked. And Mastam Gvaraloi, no big deal. If it's Mastam Gvaraloi, then there's a machlokes. Some say it's okay, because it's only Mastam Gvaraloi. It's not a big change. It's not like when you did a forbidden Shehiyah, it actually cooked. It was a change. It wasn't fully cooked. Now it's fully cooked. You understand? But if it's just Mastam Gvaraloi, yeah, it's not such a big change. So it should be mutter b'di'evet. One second, listen. If some say no, the fact is it gets better, so it's usher. The Maisa, the Magen Avraham Paskins, is out there for Paskins also, that it's if it's a shoygig, you could be megal for other people, not the person himself, and not b'nei beisoy, but other people could be megal. In that case, it was some Tovle for bin Chazar. For bin Chazar, Mastam Tovle, other people, not the person and not his household, could benefit. That means you could switch your cholent with somebody else. With Beshoigig and Mastam Tovle. That's correct. No.
Could you say, it's a bit of a stretch, but could you say that it's always V'tovle because it stays warm, and if you don't warm it up, no, that doesn't make sense? No, okay.
No, it doesn't. Obviously, when you're doing a Shehiyah for a Mastam Gvaraloi, obviously, you're not a fool. You're doing it for a reason. And the reason is you would rather it be hot, even though it's not going to taste as good. Understand? But that doesn't make it V'tovle.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so the Maisa, we did have one more thing to discuss, and that is a forbidden Chazarah by a Goy. If a Goy did a forbidden Chazarah, if it was at stomach with toivloi, you can eat it because that's not a benefit. If he did it from cold to hot, then you cannot eat it unless he did it without your knowledge, because then he has no right to take something that was fully cooked and it was edible, it was good for you to eat. He has no right to come along and make it forbidden. So that's where you have extra leniency by a goy. All right, my friends, I think we are going to call it a night. And I also think that anything else that belongs in 257, which was the notes from last time, there's a few little points that I didn't cover. I'm going to leave you to cover that on your own. We're going to start Mitzvah Shamar in 257, the handout I gave today. We're going to do that.
Okay, so just so that I'm clear on what we're doing.
What I gave today, 254, 257. I'm sorry?
Just so I'm clear on what we're doing, we're going to do a Chazarah for another couple of weeks. Then you're going to go on holiday for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to be tested.
July, correct.
So the test will be in about 6 weeks?
I'd like to do the test in August. It's not going to happen in July, just because I don't think it's going to happen. I'd like to do it in August, but I don't have a certain date. Depending on how this, I sent out a syllabus last week. What did it say in the syllabus? Let's have a look.
Real test date TBD. Mock test on the 31st of July.
Okay. So definitely not before August, but I don't want to say an exact date because I don't know. I'm probably going to give another week off in July and August, depending when people are away. And I don't know if we'll be up to my syllabus, but even if we are up to the syllabus, it would be in probably the second week of August. But practically, what I think we'll end up doing is starting the new topic in the beginning of the new school year.
Okay.
Just because that's not for new people to hop on board.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. What's the new topic?
The new topic is Shabbos Part 2, which is going to include Muktzah and Amir Lanachri and Choyle B'Shabbos.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a good night. Good night.